in the balance there, that's from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, your concerns or your optimism on these trade deals?
Well, thanks, Dana. I do tend to be an eternal optimist, but of course, in this case, it is very hard. 1 in 5 jobs in Iowa is tied directly to trade, and as you said, a number of those jobs hang in the balance with these trade deals. So we do encourage the president to move quickly on these bilateral negotiations. If we want to engage with the EU, we need to do that soon. We need to tie up NAFTA, the sooner the better. Of course, we want great deals. We support the president in that, but at the end of the day, our farmers are going to need some dollars to be taken to the bank to pay their bank notes.
Yeah, and I know because where I grew up, right, you have to plan ahead. You got to figure out how much you can plant or what you should plan for so that you don't go too far in the red. But let me ask you something. I've heard for the past, I don't know, 3 months that the farmers are saying we're okay, but we need you to get this done soon. So that's 3 months ago. So when you say soon today, are you saying you'd like to get this done by September 1st, maybe?
Absolutely. I think early this fall, we have to have some level of agreement. It doesn't have to be all of the trade agreements, but it does have to show that the president is ready to make a deal, seal the deal, and make sure that our farmers are able to get their commodities out to markets. If we engage in NAFTA, I think that shows a level of optimism. Hopefully that will drive the prices higher. But right now, we can't sustain such low prices in the market if we expect some of those young and beginning farmers to be able to continue on into the next year.
Senator, Americans can't stand it when Washington spends money wastefully.
Yes.
And every year you do the pig book, that's pork spending. And the Washington Examiner writing today, the recent increase in earmark spending can be brushed off as politics as usual. But if House Republicans want to retain any credibility as the part of fiscal responsibility, enforcing the moratorium on earmarks wouldn't be a bad idea. Your thoughts today?
I think it's an exceptional idea, and that's why I have joined Senator Jeff Flake in the Permanent Elimination of Earmarks Act, which is very important. We see so much abuse and waste with earmarks when they were in place, and we simply cannot afford to drive our debt any higher. We continue with deficit spending, and right now every American share of our debt is $64,000. We can't sustain that. We have to be responsible. We need to eliminate earmarks.
But the deficit spending isn't really being driven by earmarks per se. I mean, that's because we have entitlement programs that need to be funded, need to be reformed. And so much of our budget has to be taken up with those entities, and no one's talking about reforming those. Do you see that possibly on the horizon?
Well, I do see that as a point of discussion. We must do that. I do sit on the Joint Select Committee for Budget and Appropriations Process Reform. That is something that we have talked about through that committee process, is the fact that it is not our discretionary spending necessarily that is driving up that debt, that deficit spending. Earmarks contribute to that, but we do have to take a look at our mandatory spending as well. I think most Americans aren't aware of the overwhelming part of our budget, which is mandatory spending.
Right. I mean, you don't have a lot to play with at the end of the day. A final thought then about, there are some people who think that it would be easier to let earmarks be allowed and more fully allowed in order to get some things done in the Congress. I know that's a controversial idea, but when you're trying to make deals and get someone to decide to vote for something that's for the overall good, I hear a little bit of that. Would you be willing to consider that, or is that just a hard pass for you?
No, I don't support the earmarks. I think that if it's good policy, we should work to ensure that it's good policy for everyone. I think enticing people with special dollars for special projects is not good overall for the American taxpayer. So we do have to look at the good of everyone, and we should be basing our decisions upon good policy, not because we were promised millions or billions of dollars in special interests.
Yes, I remember some of those. They're famous. All right, Senator Joni Ernst, thank you.
Thank you.